Hi, welcome to another project for Made by Marley Week. We really hope you enjoy this one and tune in tomorrow for more projects. Okay, I'm really excited about today's project. I am going to be doing a silk screen. It's really heavy, it's got wood in the middle of it. I've leant it up against the wall like this because we're going to stencil it. I am going to be using today, I think this is my favourite out of all my stencils, but I don't know. Every time I use a different one I go, oh no, that's my favourite, but I think this one's my favourite. This one here is called Pom Plumb because it's got really beautiful, unusual birds on it. The birds are really unusual. Now these all link up our branches because I've got pomegranates which all link up as well, which will make the most beautiful chinoiserie. Okay, and no set is complete without borders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up. Hang on, Martin's stool's falling over.
The chair over.
You probably can't hear him either because we're a microphone down.
Now point the camera in the wrong direction. This is not starting well.
Do you want to start again or will we just keep going? They're used to us by now. Right, so in here I've forgotten the actual term of it. It's called stone cast powder. It's just plaster of Paris. It's just a little bit more, what will we say, meaty. I've got some water in here. Got quite a lot of water actually. And I'm going to pour my plaster into it, not put my plaster and then add my water. I'm going to do it this way round. Okay, so put my glasses on and you want it quite thick, so that's probably enough of this. And I'm going to add some PVA. Why am I adding PVA? Because it needs some sort of glue contingent to keep the plaster onto the screen. Now I'm going for a really, this is going to be completely different once it's done. I'm going for a really aged vintage chinoiserie screen. I'm really excited about doing this one, but so we're going to be putting it on in this sort of aged way. Now PVA, here we go. I thought I would never run out of PVA in this tub, but I mean, here we go. I mean, I think I've had this tub of PVA for how many years, Martin, do you think?
It's been a while.
About 3 years maybe, and I've used it, nearly all of it now. Now I've got a scraper here and I'm going to start stirring this plaster mix round. If it's too, I did have quite a lot of water to start with because I'm going to need quite a lot to do the piece. So mix that round. Keep mixing. It'll start to thicken. Now at this point in time I'm going to put a little bit of paint in it, but I realised that I didn't bring any paint over. So Martin, you can home in on that very interesting look there. Now at this point in time it doesn't really matter. At this point in time it doesn't really matter what colour you use for your underneath. I would probably use white or something, but I've got a really nice pale pink. I'm just going to use this. It's all going to be covered up anyway. So a good liberal scoosh of that chalk paint going in there now. And
was that Antoinette?
That was Antoinette from Annie Sloan. Oh, sorry, it's that colour there. It's very, very light pink. Now I can see it's starting to thicken up. And at this point in time, this is the point where I was going, oh, I'm going to add more plaster. And then it gets so thick you can't use it. So, you know, I would be cautious. My water was slightly lukewarm as well. It's always a little bit quicker if you have lukewarm water. Oh, see, there we go. It's like my cooking all over again. No. Bet it's lumpy now. It'll be like my gravy. I think my kids stopped taking my gravy because it was lumpy all the time. And now when I say, do you want gravy? They look at it like I'm giving them something really bad and they go, no thanks. Man doesn't get a choice. I just put it all over his dinner and I'll see there's a few lumps in it. I don't know how I do it. Even with the instant add boiling water gravy granules, it's still lumpy. This doesn't seem to want to thicken. Don't you hate that? Especially on camera. Look, I'm not going to make Martin sit and watch this just now. I'll come back in a minute when it's thicker, okay? All right. It's semi-thick at the moment, but that's okay because I want to have... What are you laughing at, Barry? Semi-thick. But what I want to do is put some texture on the screen before I actually do the stenciling. So this is maybe a good opportunity. Now I'm just going to use a stencil brush for this. And what I'm doing is I'm just applying some texture while it's quite thin. Why am I doing this? I think it'll just give it that aged, maybe more aged look near the end. Plus, I've got to be honest, I've added so much now that I've got so much of it, I need to get rid of it. It will, yeah, well, this is the thing about adding the PVA. You can put it onto fabric, whereas if you're just putting plaster, it would just break off if you don't have an agent in it that's going to keep it together. So let's just kind of work around. I'm only going to do one panel, and whatever I do in one panel, obviously I'm going to be kind of recreating it across the board. I want it kind of uneven. Some in the middle. I'm going to be putting a border around all of it, so I don't want it to look as contrived as it currently does, though. That's not pleasing me. I'm just trying to get it down to a manageable amount of plaster. It should really be thickening up by now, but I'm thinking maybe the temperature out here. I know, but I'm trying to get this down to a manageable level. How much did you get the screen for, Martin? It was. This is one of the Valentine's Day things.
Fill your van.
Yep. Oh, it's getting nice and thick up there. Right, let's have a wee look and see. Give it a stir now. I'm just loath to add more plaster. I think I just started with a little bit too much water. Oh. Honestly, this is how I bake. Martin will vouch for it. It's true. If I don't have the right things, I just add them. Right, I'm going to try. I'm going to try with this. I don't want it to... It does. That's your favourite, Martin, but I wouldn't eat it.
No, I wouldn't.
No. There. Oh, now we've got it. Now we've hit the right mark. Now, I brought over a stencil brush because I'm going to be applying this in 2 different ways. Right, I'm going to start down here because it's where I'm at. But remember, you won't be able to go back over the top until it's dry. So you're going to have a lot of gaps to begin with, but just make sure you can fill them on the next way round. So I'm going to put my leaves on first with my pomegranates. Now I'm going to be applying it with my scraper and my stencil brush. Again, if you're nervous about doing something like this, you can either tape it on or you can use tacky spray. I don't want to get that one down the bottom. Things like that are fine. Right, okay, let's just get as much of this excess off as we can. And you're literally going to use your stencil to do your whole if I do something like that, I can bridge that gap later, if you know what I mean, when the section above it's dry. This was always going to be my favourite, I think, of all my designs. I love chinoiserie. I absolutely love pomegranates. I don't know, I'm addicted to them. I just love how they look. And when I said to Jamie, I drew her something and said, I want a pomegranate sort of related chinoiserie sort of thing. And I was in luck because Jamie really loves pomegranates too, and she instantly understood what I was talking about. And I thought, isn't that great? Again, I can bridge that one with something because I'm going to put one of the birds on here. I really did the wrong one there. Did you see that, Manna? Now, there isn't any sort of particular rocket science to doing what I'm doing. It's just that I just wanted to show you that Made by Marley does a good job of these stencils as well. I mean, the mylar is what? How thick, Martin? Do we know? It's thick.
Yeah, I'll come back and tell you that.
You put them on the spot. It's thick mylar, so
Not too thick though.
no. We tried it.
Different
Yeah.
and things, and we wanted something that could still get around the corner.
We wanted to be able to bend it around corners, but I wanted it thick enough that I could raise stencil if I wanted to. Yeah. And by mixing up your sort of plaster and your PVA and your paint, you're going to get just the right sort of consistency. I mean, you saw it took a little bit of time for me to get it right, but I think probably that was my fault because I had too much water in it in the beginning. I thought I would need quite a lot of this, so I mean, this is going to be really... Don't worry about all of these parts because it's all going to be painted at the end. Right, so I think you've seen enough of that sort of thing. Now, I'm going to bridge later on. This is going to come up here and join onto here. So let's do this branch here and I'll put a bird up somewhere here. Poor Martin's still got his bad cough. He was up during the night coughing.
That's the reason why I'm not wearing a microphone at the moment. Too much sniffing and coughing.
Plus, I've lost it. I mean, but he didn't say anything. I mean, I've had the microphones go through the wash machine and everything. Oh, Marty. I think I'm going to add this. I know I'm really pushing it to lean that on there. I know I shouldn't be, but it's just to show you how nice everything stencils. Don't want all of that because it's just going into the pomegranate tree there. Yeah. You know that way when you know you've... I'm really proud of the stencils, but I just think that every time I use them now I go, I think we've done the right thing. I'm just hoping that you guys all think we've done the right thing. Now, I want to put the bird up here, but I'm wondering how much it's going to... I just don't want it to really interfere with these ones down below. I won't put that branch because it's connecting to something else. I'll miss that out. Let's hope that I'm not squishing the one that... See, I don't really... See, that's what I'm trying to avoid, that squishing. But I think you understand. Let's put one of these little birds here. I just love the little birds as well. I said I want unusual, really unusual birds. Do you know, I think Jamie had quite a time working with me between wanting the elephant's eyes to be gentle and hot spice. That was one of my stipulations. Every time she redid it, I was like, no, its eyes don't look kind enough. And we got there. Right, I am going to do this whole screen using the Pom Plumb stencil. I'm not going to put any of the borders on, but I'm going to show you which, not on camera anyway, because I don't want to... Well, I might be able to do some of it. I just don't want to jump too far ahead. This is a bit of a messy process as well. You've got to... the border I'm probably going to be using to go around the whole thing is this one here. So I can quickly show you a little bit of how the border's going to look by placing this over here. Sorry, Martin. I'm always miles away. Right, let's have a look at that. There we go. This is going to be going all the way around. But I think you can see where it's going. When I get it kind of completed, I'm going to come back in and put more thicker texture on it around the edges to kind of age it all up and things so that it's ready. And we'll come back later on and I'll show you how I'm going to paint this. Okay, so I put all the plaster stencil on it. Let it dry completely. And then what I did was I made a pink, which is this pink here, a sort of corally pink. And in it, I used Capri Pink, Antoinette, which is a very light pink, and a little bit of Barcelona orange, which gave me a sort of corally pink. I put it on thick in some areas, and I added a lot of water to the other areas so that the red comes through and gives it different tones. Now at the moment, it's not looking pretty, but all of the background and all these colours will all come and sort themselves out once I've done the painting part. So what have I got down here on my palette for painting it with? I have from the top Capability Green, which is a nice leafy green. I've got Hornflower, which is chocolate brown. I've got Old Ochre, which is a creamy white. I've got Antoinette, which is a light pink. I've got Emperor Silk, which is the red. And I've got Tilton, which is a yellow. Okay, and variants of these colours. I've also got to probably mix a little bit of this in here and there as well, even though that's the background colour. I've just got a sort of ordinary size brush, nothing special. Now, at this point in time, if it was a thicker raised stencil, you could probably go over it with a sponge, but I also think, which would be quite cool as well, if you got the original stencil, put it back over the top of it and kind of positioned it slightly so you had the texture underneath and the paint over the top. But I'm just going to paint mine in because I'm feeling that way. You know, I'm always going to take the longest route considering what I've got to do, but never mind. So because the raised paint is there, it's actually quite simple to do. Where it's a little bit distressed, just kind of fill in the gaps. I think I'm going to put just a little bit of a dab of brown in this, just in the green. I don't want it as green. Not all of the leaves anyway. Some I'm going to darken up like this. Just checking that I've got it. Now, you can do this sort of at your leisure. This is going to be the green sort of. I'm going to dip back in the brighter green to go beside that. So it's shades of green for obviously the leaves. And back dip in the brown. Now, hopefully, I didn't mean to dip in the brown. I meant to dip in the greeny brown paint. Might have to go back over this. The thing about this is, because it's got the texture on it and we've given it because it's all about the texture really of doing this, where you're adding your brush over the top isn't completely smooth, which will give it another sort of dimension when you're going over the top of it, especially in the really cracked areas. And this isn't too cracked, but you know, in some of the more cracked areas, I'm just not going to do much more green before I move on to other colours. I just want to make sure that I've kind of exhausted as much green as I can. This is not complicated to do. It's just a little bit labour intensive. How's that looking, Martin?
Yeah, I can see where it's going.
Can you?
Mm.
Oh, good. If you can see where it's going, then that's good. Right.
I think it's going to be a labour of love, but I think you're going to get pretty sick of painting the leaves by the end of this.
I just said to Martin before, I've not got enough hours in the day, and here I am. Out here doing this now. I'll swap my brush out for something a little bit more branch-like that'll help me. And what I've done is I've added just a tiny little bit of Old Ochre into it. So branches are the same. You're going over the texture. You don't have to paint it all in. Just, it's the texture I wanted. I didn't want this flat stencil. I made up my mind. I thought, no, I want to put texture on it. I might just join it up. Where else is there brown? I think here. And obviously here. You see big areas of the same colour of your brush, I would just do them, save you messing around, changing your colour all the time. And what I'll probably do off camera is just do all the green, then do all the brown, etc. Right, I want this leaf, this twig brown. I haven't quite made up my mind what colour my birds are going to be, so I'm going to kind of maybe leave them. I think you understand the concept of what I'm doing here. I'm not saying anything, I'm a Marley, because I'm concentrating. Right, let's do this on the pomegranates next. So I want to see what this red will do, whether it's not going to be bright. I think it might be bright enough. No, I should maybe swap my brush over again, because this isn't maybe pomegranate painting brush. Right, so quite like that colour. I thought maybe I might need a darker paint for the pomegranates, but I'm kind of lightening up my palette because I was looking at quite a lot of the things I've made for the release, and there's an awful lot of greens and blues, and I thought, right, I'll go a different route for this one.
I'll go greens and reds.
Yeah. Pinks, Martin, pinks. Pinks. Now there's a nice flower down here. I'm probably going to do that. I might do that. The really light pink with just a little bit of the coral that we had in the beginning. Now, you can see what I've got ahead of me. You're not going to miss anything. I'm literally going to paint it all in. Nothing more exciting than this.
Yeah, the last 7 minutes has been just that.
I know.
And yeah,
It won't take me too long. You'd be surprised. Put my audiobook on, got my cup of tea. I'll definitely try and get this done tonight. I can. Right. Okay, so you know what I'm doing. I'm going to go on and I'm going to do that now. I think this is going to be as nice as I had hoped. I had high hopes that this was going to be nice, but now seeing it evolve, I think it's going to be really nice, and it's easy to hand paint when you've got the stencil underneath it, because you don't have to be Picasso. There's nothing you need to do because it's already there for you to kind of copy and follow. So, it's reasonably sort of kind of simple, which is nice. I think I'm gonna just, maybe this isn't a flower up here, I don't think, but I'm going to make it one. Right, I'm already using artistic license. Shocker. Okay, next time you see this, I will have painted the whole screen. Okay, and then we'll get to distressing it and finessing it. There you go, there's the words I'm looking for. Okay, so we might have to get Martin back out here in his pajamas. Oh, don't know why I find that so funny. Right, I've got a winey colour over here as well that I had left over. Let's see, I think I'm preferring the reds, but I want it for just to do these little dots around these little dog roses. I'm not quite sure. I'm wondering whether a little bit of this in the pomegranate, just a little bit of shading. See, now I'm making it even more complicated. Right, okay. Back once this has been painted. Okay, so these are small tutorials that I'm showing you for Made by Marley Week. So I've went away and I've painted all of this, painted over the top of my texture. If you don't want to put the texture on, you can just stencil it and it'll be much crisper and clearer, but I wanted it to look like it had been hand painted. It was a hand painted kind of affair. So by using the stencils and doing it this way, that's how I've achieved the look. Now, what am I going to do next? I'm going to dirty up all of the edges with some brown I'm putting it on quite heavy. It's watered down. You don't need to have tons of it. And then I've got a little sponge here, which I'm dipping in my water. And I'm just kind of muddying it up. Now, I'm muddying it up. It's quite a lot of muddying up. But then I'll show you what I'm doing next. Just so it looks like it's dirty at the edges. I'm coming over with my original brush and just kind of the original coloured paint and just kind of fading that out a little bit just so it's not terribly mucky. You know, it's mucky-ish. Murky even, shall we say. I'm going to do that all the way around the edges. And then once I've done that, because I've done it in the bottom half of these panels here, is sandpaper. Now, if this was an old vintage, it would be, you can see where I've started to do it here. When you sand, the detail of underneath will come out. So although I've put a border on this, I haven't painted all of the border in because this is wet, so I can't do it to here. But just in general, anywhere where there's texture on the piece, there's some good texture here. By sanding it, it makes it look aged. You can go right over the top of your design and fade that back. And it's just really fading it and distressing it. Now, once I've done the dark edges, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wax this so it's buttery smooth. Once it's buttery smooth, I'm going to come along and I'm just going to pop a little bit of dark wax around the edges and we'll come back and I'll show you it. This, I was just saying to my daughter, the Pom Plumb, I think, was always going to be probably my favourite stencil, only because I put so much input into this one that it was very, very specific when we designed it and I knew exactly what I wanted. So I'm not surprised that it's as beautiful because there was so much work put into this. There was work put into all of them, but this one in particular is my favourite. I just love the pomegranates. I can imagine this in so many different colours, really bohemian dark colours, but I can also imagine it in something quite subtle with maybe some creams and some beiges and just a light pink and then maybe with a crackle stamp over the top of it. I'll use all my stencils from now on, but this one I can imagine will be an awful lot in, you know, especially for blending transitions of decoupage paper or just doing your cupboard fronts. And as I said before, don't be scared to do things on fabric. You can always stencil fabric. You can stencil pretty much anything if you give it a go. But I'm really pleased. I mean, this was just a throw-in item for a job lot that Martin got me. And I just really like it now. So once it's been waxed, it's had some age around the edges and everything. I'll come back and I'll show you in a minute. Okay, so it's finished. What I did at the end, I don't know what it is about the Made by Marley week. Whenever I finish a video, I decide to put gold on it. But what I did was I got some mirror spray, gold mirror spray, and I just gave it a little bit of a scoosh after I had waxed it. I did it because the wax is water-based, and this is fine on the wax. I clear waxed it, then dark waxed around the edges, and then I got some of the gold mirror spray and just did some gold accents just to give it a little bit of bougie goodness. And that's it. That's another thing you can do with Made by Marley stencils. It's a raised textured stencil, it's a textured stencil which has been hand painted. If you can skip the texture and just go straight to the joy of the stenciling. As I said, I was looking for a more hard painted look. Right, that's it. On to the next one. Okay, and before we say goodbye today, I just feel I would like to mention Made by Marley week. Wouldn't be Made by Marley week without loads of different people. And my bad, but I got all of the brand ambassadors paper out pretty late. They didn't have a huge amount of time. I'd been sick and there was a whole, excuses. It was my fault. I will put my hand up to that. So when they did get the paper, they've only had a short period of time to do it. So I was really pleased to see that I've written it down. I'm like a newsreader just so that I get it right. I was pleased to see that some of our brand ambassadors had done something. So first of all, I want to point up here to Lynn's dresser. She's from Redesigned by Lynn, and she's used the Golden Girl paper, and it is stunning and also beautifully textured. Really nice, Lynn. Really like that. Next, my bestie Jenny If you look up here at Ginny, Ginny's done, obviously Ginny's mum's shed, and she has reimagined a chair, no, a stool with Rave and a chair with Rave as well. So, and I haven't used Rave, so I said to her, oh, great, great, good. She was working away, trying to get everything done. Thank you, Ginny. But she also did a cupboard with our fay paper, our little cabinet. So here's a picture of our fay cupboard, and it is glorious. Now you can hop over to any of these. Martin will put their
links to all their
links to their social media so that you can go and follow them. Then next, I've got to say, and I've just got to say this one. This one it's glorious. It was done by Dar from DIYs by Dar. And it is an absolute awesome screen. And what she's done is she's used the new Koyo paper, but she's also used our limited edition set of the large pink and red roses, the fussy cut ones, the 12 sheet, and she's added that and a myriad of other things, and she has created this glory, and it really is a glory. Lastly is the lovely Charlene. Charlene has done, Charlene's from Designing with Decoupage. You'll find her on our social media. She's really very prolific. I think with Charlene's work is, if you've never seen any of Charlene's work, you need to go and see it. She can mix and match my papers like nobody else. That she just mixes them all together and out it comes at the end. I think probably she was quite rushed because I know her work's quite involved, but she's made this beautiful little like table with a sort of book thing, I think, underneath. So this is Charlene's, but Charlene's also on social media if you go ahead and follow her. By the way, and Dar's on YouTube. So, but Martin will put all the links. Now, lastly, I want to just say this. 4 lovely ladies. So Lavon from Statement Designs, Dar from DIYs by Dar, Crystal from Crystal Crafty Creech, and Kat from Owling Dog Designs. They have a group where they do a live each week. These lovely, it's called the Flippin' Bunch, these lovely ladies, and they made this week's YouTube live about Made by Marley, and they asked me to do a little bit of chat. I did do a little bit of chat for them. However, the waves all the way from Scotland to America played up a bit. So they then posted in their socials a little clip from me. But if you go onto that, they don't half sell my paper. What lovely, wonderful ladies. And I would really, really like to thank you. So there's just a little thing of what it looks like on YouTube. And I'll get Martin to link that YouTube live so that you can see it. I am sure that all the other brand ambassadors are busy in making behind the scenes. I've already put these ladies up on my social media today, but as soon as more things come up, I'll share them, and you can obviously share them in the Decoupage group. Just a last reminder, remember, you can still win all of our stencils, the whole set, and all you need to do is go to our release video, our Spring 2025 release video, like it, share it, leave us a lovely comment, and make sure that you're a Made by Marley subscriber, and you can win all sets, and we'll ship them anywhere. The name is just going to be pulled out of at random, so and we'll ship anywhere. And there's also a competition going on our Facebook where you have to put a caption on a photograph that I've put out, so you can go and have a look for that. Made by Marley Decoupage Clan group, it continues to grow. If you are joining the group, you need to answer the kindness question. I'm not bothered whether you don't use Made by Marley paper, but I am bothered that you are going to be kind and respectful to everybody, because I have a really kind and lovely group, and I keep declining people, not because I'm trying to do that, it's just, but I need to know that before you join. I don't care whether you tick the box that you like sparkly things and cake, that's not irrelevant, but the kindness one is really important. So if you have tried to join our group and it's been declined, it's just because that question to me is very important, because I want a really kind and loving bunch of people, and that's what I have in the group. That's all my business done. Martin, do I have any more business stuff to talk about?
Nope.
Whew. Right, I'll get on, because there's still more from Made by Marley Week. I just want to announce quickly that after our Sunday video, our normal Sunday video at 2 p.m. GMT, we will also be finishing Made by Marley Week with a live to everyone, not just our private channel members, a live to everybody on YouTube, where I will be making something with our new staff at 8 p.m. GMT. So I will be putting a thing out on Facebook to remind everybody that that's what I'll be doing.
Check Google for what that is in your time zone, because we know, for example, in the States, there's been some changes to the time zones
and things. So it's 8 p.m. GMT, and you will see me. Daisy's going to be reading out the comments. Mark's going to be filming. And if you've ever wanted to ask me anything, and you've thought, one day I'm going to ask Lyle that, then now is the time. Get your questions ready. Get your questions ready, and I will try my best to answer it and paint at the same time. We could get anything. I'm not. I'm sorry, Mojo. I know you really wanted me to do a lampshade in this release, and it was going to be a lampshade, but there's no way I could do a lampshade on a live. It would be just a disaster. So I'm kind of keeping it quite simple, and I'm going to be doing like a wall hanging hook thing. So anyway, we'll catch you then. Lots of love. Bye-bye.